Everyone has heard the stories about haunted radio frequencies, tales of eerie broadcasts that seem to come from another realm, whispers that send chills down your spine, ghostly voices whispering from the static. They say these voices are from the beyond, trying to communicate with the living. Numbers stations that shouldn't exist. Strange sequences that defy explanation, leaving listeners puzzled and intrigued. I always scoffed at them, dismissing them as urban legends or overactive imaginations, just stories to spook the gullible. That is, until I encountered 103.3 FM, a frequency that seemed to defy logic and reason. I never believed those stories. They were just figments of imagination, right? Ghostly voices on the radio, please. It sounded absurd. Just static and bored minds. That's what I thought. That's what I always thought. It was just static. Nothing more, nothing less. Until I started working the graveyard shift. The silence of the night brought a new perspective. Now, every night, I question everything I thought I knew. The static isn't just noise anymore, about static, about ghosts, about the unknown, about the space between stations, the liminal space where reality blurs, because now I hear it too. The whispers, the voices, the eerie messages. A voice in the static. It's no longer just a story. It's my reality. The gas station was in the middle of nowhere, miles from town, surrounded by darkness and the hum of flickering fluorescent lights. My only company was the occasional trucker or insomniac soul. It was the definition of isolated, desolate, the kind of place where your mind could play tricks on you. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional passing car or the chirp of the gas pump. I would pass the time reading, cleaning, or listening to the radio. Anything to keep the loneliness at bay. One night, while fiddling with the radio dial, I stumbled upon it, 103.3 FM. At first, it was just static, white noise hissing through the speakers. But then, something changed. The static shifted, it coalesced. A voice emerged, faint but distinct. It wasn't clear, not at first, just whispers, murmurs. They were buried beneath layers of static, like a voice trying to break free from the depths of a well. But I heard it, and it sent chills down my spine. The voice seemed to call out to me, reaching through the static, seeking me out. It knew my name. It knew my fears. It was as if it was watching me, studying me. The messages were cryptic at first, vague threats veiled in whispers, disjointed phrases about my past, my secrets, things that no one else could possibly know. It unnerved me, but I couldn't tear myself away.
Don't trust the shadows.
Or
they're watching you.
Each night the messages grew clearer, more insistent, more menacing. My fear morphed into an unsettling obsession. I found myself glued to the radio every night, waiting for the voice to speak, for it to tell me more, to reveal its secrets. The line between reality and nightmare began to blur. The frequency began to consume me. It started as a faint hum, barely noticeable, but it grew louder and more insistent with each passing day. It was as if the sound had a life of its own, wrapping around my mind and squeezing tighter and tighter. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My nights were filled with restless tossing and turning, haunted by the relentless drone of the frequency. My appetite vanished, and food lost all its appeal. I was a prisoner to the sound, unable to escape its grasp. My world narrowed down to the confines of that gas station and the chilling voice on 103.3 FM. Every moment I spent there felt like an eternity, the voice on the radio becoming my only companion. It was as if the station itself was alive, feeding off my fear and confusion. It was as if the station itself was a conduit, a doorway. I started seeing things, strange, unexplainable visions that danced at the edge of my perception. The line between reality and illusion blurred, and I could no longer trust my own senses. Shadows moving in the corners of my eyes. They were always just out of reach, slipping away whenever I tried to focus on them. It felt like I was being watched, followed by unseen entities that thrived in the darkness. Faces appearing in the static on the security cameras. They were distorted, ghostly visages that seemed to be trying to communicate with me. Their eyes bore into my soul, filling me with a sense of dread and unease. My grip on reality was slipping. I could no longer distinguish between what was real and what was a product of my tormented mind. The frequency had taken hold of me, and I was powerless to resist its influence.
You hear it too, don't you? The voice was soft, almost a whisper, but it cut through the noise in my head like a knife. It was a question, but it felt more like a statement, a confirmation of my deepest fears.
One night, a stranger stopped at the gas station. His presence was unsettling, and I could feel the weight of his gaze on me. He seemed to know something that I was desperate to understand. A weathered traveler with eyes that held a knowing glint. There was something about him that set him apart from the others who passed through. He carried an air of mystery, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he was connected to the frequency somehow. You hear it too, don't you? He rasped, his voice barely a whisper. His words sent a chill down my spine, confirming that I wasn't alone in my torment. There was a shared understanding between us, a bond forged by the haunting frequency that had ensnared us both. I froze. No one else had ever acknowledged the voice on 103.3 FM. It was a secret I thought only I knew, a haunting whisper that had kept me awake many nights. "What do you know about it?" I asked, my voice trembling. The fear in my voice was palpable, a reflection of the dread that had settled in my bones.
They call it Station Zero. It's a place where the veil thins, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and the air is thick with the whispers of those long gone. Where the dead can speak to the living. It's not just a myth or a legend, it's real, and it's dangerous.
The stranger leaned closer, his breath hot on my ear. "They call it Station Zero," he murmured. His voice was barely audible, yet it sent chills down my spine. "It's a place where the veil thins, where the dead can speak to the living." The words echoed in my mind, each syllable a hammer driving home the reality of the situation. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and warning. It was as if he knew the torment I had endured, the sleepless nights, the endless questions.
Don't go looking for it. Some things are best left undisturbed. His tone was grave, each word a stark reminder of the dangers that lay ahead.
"Don't go looking for it," he said. "Some things are best left undisturbed." The warning was clear, but curiosity gnawed at me, a relentless force that refused to be silenced. Then he was gone, vanished into the night, his warning echoing in my ears. I stood there alone in the dim light, the weight of his words pressing down on me. The night seemed darker, the silence more profound, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for my next move. But his warning had the opposite effect. Curiosity, fueled by fear and obsession, consumed me. I had to know the truth. I had to find Station Zero. I searched for days, following rumors and whispers, old maps, local legends, anything that could lead me to the source of the haunted frequency. Finally, I found it. An abandoned radio tower, hidden deep in the woods. The paint was peeling, the metal rusted. A single word was scrawled on the side in faded red paint: Zero. As I stepped inside the abandoned tower, a cold shiver ran down my spine. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay. The remnants of shattered equipment lay scattered across the floor, and in the center of it all stood the radio transmitter. It was still active, humming with an eerie energy. The dial was set to 103.3 FM. As I drew closer, the static intensified. The voice grew louder, more insistent, and then I saw it. A figure standing in the control room, a spectral silhouette, its form flickering in and out of existence. The figure reached out to me, its voice echoing through my mind. It showed me visions, horrific glimpses of the future, accidents, disasters, my own demise. Then it showed me something even more terrifying, photographs scattered across the floor, hundreds of them, pictures of people I didn't know. And beneath each photograph a date, their date of death. My blood ran cold. The last photograph I saw was my own. I fled from that cursed tower, the static from 103.3 FM echoing in my ears. The voice continues to haunt me, whispering my fate, reminding me of what I saw. I don't know what malevolent entity lies within that frequency, but I know this. If you ever find yourself driving down a deserted highway late at night and you come across 103.3 on the dial, don't stop, don't listen, just keep driving.